Well, the most important thing that we want to give to you, and you may not hear it as clearly as you will later, but we're going to give it to you with everything we've got anyway. You are leading edge creators, which means you are adaptive beings. You are not fragile, you are not vulnerable, and you are not at risk. But when you play that stupid game, you disallow the well-being that is there for you.
I got it.
It's like all that is non-physical and all that is good is all queued up and flowing to you. And you've got yourself all walled off as you use facts and truths as your reason to disallow the very solutions that you're looking for. You can't have it both ways. You cannot keep problems active within you and be part of the solution. You just can't do it. And the way you feel in the moment, that's your guidance saying, this isn't getting you where you want to be. This isn't getting you where you want to be. Want to take a different tack? Want to take a different tack? Want to take a different tack? Want to be a thriver? Want to be one who excels? Want to feel invincible? You see? You just don't get back enough to take a broad enough view. And you listen to the voices of those who have something to gain if they can convince you that there's a condition that needs to be changed. And we're not saying that they're not conditions that you're not seeking improvement about, but we are seeing that beating the drum of the problem condition does not bring you to the solution ever, 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 ever. And there are enough of you, fortunately, there are enough of you who are not focused upon the problem. That's why the flora and fauna is so important about your planet. And that's why in some ways that you're worried about it. But we promise you, they are not worried. They just migrate to the conditions that serve them best. So then you say, oh, there's a problem. There's a problem with this part of the ecosystem. But the part of the ecosystem that lives there is adapting and moving and changing and thriving and in sync with source energy. And then you say, but what about the parts of the ecosystem that are now extinct? And we say, how do you tell if they are extinct or if they are expanded? How do you know if they are extinct or if they are evolved? How do you know if they have not adapted and changed, you see? And so we know, and Esther will get letters, because there are those who are comfortable in their insisting on the destruction of the planet. But we're here to remind you, because we have not forgotten, that you are not devolving, you are evolving. You are not unbecoming, you are becoming. You are not disappearing, you are reappearing. Your planet is well. Your planet is well. There is so much more evidence of the wellness. Now, if you say to us, Abraham, the sun didn't come up this morning, then we'd say, we were wrong. The sun did come up this morning, and it will come up tomorrow morning. And the evolution of all that is upon your planet is improving. And the reason that we know that is because at a cellular level, there is asking. And at that cellular level where there is asking, there is no resistance. Hear that. At the cellular level, which is the basis of all that you know as physical beingness, there is asking and no resistance. So why are you, as humans, getting on these bandwagons where you're looking at conditions and trumping them up and putting dramatic music behind them, and then using that condition that has been exaggerated and trumped up and is way out of perspective with everything else as your reason to not allow your cells that are asking and non-resistance to be the recipient of that well-being, you see? And that's why we say, if all of the humans banded together and watched videos that made you doubt your well-being, you still collectively would not be enough to cause destruction of this planet, because you are not the major vibration of this planet. The major vibration of this planet is happening on a cellular level, on a microscopic level, on an animal level, on a vegetable level, on a plant level, on a source energy level, you see. No matter how bad you decide you're going to feel today, you cannot mess it up for the rest of us. You got way more than you deserved there, in the sense that we know that you are much more appreciator of life and that things are going well for you. And we know that you have these issues and that it is your appreciation of this planet that feels so precious to you that even makes you go to those places at all. But when something feels precious, except just a little bit, you're assigning to it vulnerability. And you can't assign vulnerability to your planet and ever be in sync with the source within you. Do you know how much has gone into this planet spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets? Do you even have any understanding of the well-being that's happening around here? It's time to focus on that, friends. Yeah. When you feel good, you're on the right track. When you don't feel good, you're not on the right track. So you came back knowing that. But what happened? Oh, such a well-placed question. What happened is you cared about the condition of the way that person responded to you more than you cared about the way you felt. That's how you got trained. That's what Esther realized she was doing with her own list of positive aspects about the people that she cares most about in the world. She was trying to train them into virtuous conditions. She didn't mean to do it. Oh, I will see them as always on time. And then they will always be on time. So, without meaning to, you said to your children or to your mates, when you behave this way, I am pleased. And when you behave that way, I am not pleased. And it's really better for you when I am pleased. So, never mind tuning to frequencies. In fact, when I am the most out of alignment with who I really am, that's when I lay down the most laws and demand the most from you. So, you better behave and please me when I'm out of alignment, or there'll be big trouble for you. We're exaggerating this, not at all. In other words, so without meaning to, you early on started pandering to pleasing others, whether they were in alignment or not. And in the process, you lost your sense, which is returning in full force today. You lost your sense of feeling your own guidance from within. What could be better? You didn't say, I'll remember everything that I've ever learned about anything. We have a really good question for you. How much training did they give you about gravity? You're really little. Your mother's holding you in her arms and she's saying, if I drop you, it's really going to hurt. Or there's this thing called gravity and you'll learn about it soon enough. And I'll try to teach you everything I know about it before your feet ever hit the floor. But you didn't have to learn about it because it responded to you so consistently that through life experience, you figured it out, you see. And the same thing is true of law of attraction. You knew that you would figure it out because it's pervasive. It's everywhere. It's unyielding. It never stops. It's always consistent. And, we're shouting again, you have a guidance system that lets you know. You just forgot about that because your mother made you believe that what she wanted mattered more than how you felt about it. And now you have some conversations you need to have with a lot of people. Hey, you know how I've been jumping through hoops for you all these years? I'm not going to do that anymore. Esther's going to discover what it's going to be like when Mark says, hey, Esther, I'd rather not be at the office today. Makes me happy to not be there. So I'm not going to go in. How do you feel about that? And if Esther has heard anything here today, she will say, how I feel about what you do is irrelevant. Even if it has to do with my business. He's got a really big grin on his face. This might not go well for him. And you see, what worries all of you is that you really don't trust people to behave in ways that will be beneficial to you. And it might be a little rocky in the beginning, but we promise you this is the only answer to everything that you're seeking, you see. You just can't legislate enough things. You can't demand that people are treated one way or another. It's an inside job. They have to create a vibrational atmosphere that causes law of attraction to respond to them. And law of attraction is responding to them. They just have to figure out how to do it consciously, you see. You hearing this? Are you getting it? Are you believing it? Aren't you eager to just watch what happens next?
Always.
So, if you feel uneasy when people disapprove of you, do you know why that is? Because something's really wrong with their disapproval. They don't get to choose who you are. You're really a good person, and their disapproval is what's misplaced. You're not out of whack. They are. You can turn it around right now. You can start telling people. You see? But your question is, no, Abraham, no. I want to know why I wasn't born remembering. And we say, you weren't born with conscious thought. You weren't born with vocabulary. You were born with vibrational knowing, you see, that we are leading you back to. And yes, you learned language and you learned behavior and you learned to be socialized by those who needed to control you because they didn't know how to be happy unless they controlled you. But by now, haven't you figured it out? How's it working out? How is it working out? What control do you have over each other? Do you have any real control? Do you listen to your politicians? They stand in complete defiance of each other with what seems to be the singular goal of just not going along with what you want, even if it's a good idea. Even if it's a good idea, I cannot go along with what you want. All the time feeling awful inside. So the bigger question is, how did I, in my human form, get so detached from my emotions that I am willing to put up with this emptiness? Why am I willing? Because we know that often you don't feel empty. Often you're enlivened. Often you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on. So it doesn't take much nudging before you remember that, you see. Before you remember or rediscover what to do about it now. You'll never get us to agree that you came into this physical experience with something missing, because it is, from our perspective, the perfect platform for this eternal beingness that we are all about. You said, I'll go where there's lots of variety, and from it I will find things that are important to me. And we said, and when you find it, we'll flow with it, and you'll know when you're on the track of it and when you're not. You can continue the trajectory of well-being that we are all a part of. Or you can deviate from it. But your deviation will be temporary, because you'll only deviate while you're in this physical body if you choose to deviate at all from this alignment that is really there for you, you see. So we see it as perfection because we knew that nothing could really go wrong. Oh, you could pinch yourself off from it temporarily. But we knew that you would find your way back to it, because in the moment that you re-emerge back into non-physical, you'll leave behind all your resistance and you'll become the full version of all that you've been asking for, you see. So that would be like saying, Abraham, I'm going to an NBA basketball game. Esther's been going to the Spurs game. She likes it so much. And I just don't think that, I think that hoop should be way lower than it is. Way lower than it is. And I think that it should be bigger. The hoop should be bigger and the ball should be smaller. It should be just so obvious and so easy. And I think everybody should get to play. I think everybody should get to play. And I just think it'd be a whole lot more fun if it was different in this way. And we say, you like figuring things out. You like getting good at things. You like coming to know things that you didn't know before. You like life giving you more opportunities. You like fine-tuning your vibration to a higher frequency. You like the momentum moving faster. You like the stakes being greater and the reward therefore feeling better. You liked it this way. Every single one of you liked it this way. You've just changed your mind since you become conditional lovers. Once you move back to unconditional lovers, you'll realize the perfection of this world again. You see, this world only feels off when you're a conditional lover who doesn't like some conditions and can't control them, and doesn't have the ability to focus either. There's just so many bad things to look at in this world, and I just feel inclined to look at all of the bad things. And I think that the bad things shouldn't be here. And we say, no, you don't. You wanted the variety. And then you say, well, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be the variety. I'm just saying that shouldn't my guidance have been more obvious to me? Shouldn't I come knowing it? And we say,